I'm going to show you how to put your flute together. So we start with our head joint, and you just want to hold it quite tightly, nicely, firmly in your hand. Then we have this main body of your flute, so this is the next bit. And if you've never put your flute together before, it's really important that you look carefully at which end goes where. And you want to find the end here that has the sort of writing on. This is normally to do with who's built your flute, who's put it together. So this will have some writing on, or maybe a little bit of decoration. This end is going to be the one that fits onto here. So we take this out carefully. Now when you're putting it together, just be really careful that you're not grabbing around your keys, because that can damage them. So the best thing is to hold it up near the top. Now also when you're putting it together, try not to force it in. You're going to put it very carefully, quite smoothly, gently, so you're pushing together, twisting until it goes all the way in. And then what we want to try and do is, because all our keys at the top here, I say to people, imagine that they're facing the ceiling, showing them the ceiling, and we're going to try and make sure that the whole of our head joint is facing the same direction. So mine's a bit wonky there, I don't know if you can see that. It's not facing the same direction as my keys. So I can draw a little imaginary line. So this needs to come round a little bit. Just bring that round, and there we go. That's now creating a nice straight line. And if I look at it this way, then that's facing the ceiling, that's facing the ceiling. Okay, so now we've got our little foot joint left to put on. This is a bit more fiddly to work out. So if we look at this one, we can see we've got one end with lots of little keys nearby to the end, one end that hasn't really got anything going on, and that end that hasn't got anything going on is right at the bottom of our flute. So the bit that we want to join together here is the bit with the keys on. So again, just be really careful not to grab too hard. We're going to push and twist very carefully together. If it feels a bit stiff, just ask somebody else, somebody a bit stronger in your house, to give it a go. And if it doesn't work, then don't worry. Come and ask me for some help. So lining this up, what a lot of people do when they have their flutes to start with is they line the bars up together, which is totally understandable, but that's going to make it really hard to play. So what you want to try and do instead is bring this round and think instead of having this line coming from the main body of your flute, is then making a line with the bottom of the keys. And that's because our little finger is going to be pressing this down, and we need to be able to use these fingers here over the rest of the keys. So if it's all the way around here, that's really, it's really awkward to hold it on. So just bring it round. You can fiddle about with that. Once you've played your flute for a few weeks and you know how it feels, you might want to bring it a little bit further or a little bit further away. Okay, so then if you want to start your first note, bring it round this way. So we're going to start with our thumb on the back here. Now there's two keys here. There's like a long flat key and then a little bobbly one. So we want our flat key with our thumb, and then we ignore the very top key. We pop our first finger on here. Then at the bottom, our thumb is just resting underneath to hold the flute up, and our little finger is going on this key at the bottom. Okay, and that's called B, the letter B, and our note B. Okay, so then you find the right position with your flute, and we blow. Now if it sounds a bit strange, let me show you what it might sound like. That's because my fingers now are accidentally pressing down these keys at the bottom. So be really careful, it's very easy to sort of lean a bit too hard with our fingers. So keep these fingers a little bit over the top rather than pressing down. It's just keeping them off. We need to use them later for other keys and other notes, but for the minute, yeah. Also, the other thing to watch out for is to use this bit of your hand, sort of where your finger meets the rest of your hand. That's going to become like a little place for your flute to rest on. So when you've got your thumb on the back and your first finger on here, can you see that my hand is leaning, or my flute rather, is leaning on my hand here? So it's bending round, and that's going to create a really nice little sitting position for my flute to sit on. Okay, so there's B, and have fun playing.